forget poetry. What is apolitical? What is not politics? What you're wearing is politics. What you're eating is politics. What your choice of words is politics. The way you're thinking right now that he's sitting there, is he credible enough to speak on this, is politics. Everything is politics. And being apolitical itself is a political stand. So I don't know where we go with that. I mean, so the moment you're born, you're into politics. So we can't help that part. And I was telling I'm bad at speaking, so I'll just go with opening maybe with a poem and saying that this is a poem. See, even poetry is scary. Even poetry is, I don't know why. And you can always find tropes like poetry doesn't sell, poetry that people don't read, blah, 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 and everything. But deep down, as she's saying, years, like centuries, there's folklore poetry. Fishermen go out singing poetry. There are farmers singing poetry. And our tradition has been that sort of oral. So are we still scared of poetry is the question. And there's a poem I read out at UN headquarters at an Emergency Writers Congress on 13th May. Shehan was there. He's not here. Shehan was there, and Salman Rushdie was there, and it was organized by PEN America. And I'll read that poem because this comes from the context that recently in the past year, Mia poetry is something that emerged in Assam, Mia literature, Mia being Muslim, and people were questioning and debating that, do we need additional literature? And why would we write them off as the question at the first? So are you scared of poetry? Let me begin there, probably. And what scares you the most? Poetry? A Mia writing poetry? A poem from a Dalit? The song of an Asur? An Adivasi who can rhyme? LGBTQI plus poems? Poems by women? Women poetry groups secretly meeting and writing poetry in Kabul? Social media poetry? Unpublished poetry? Bad poetry, in bracket, which is any poetry not written by you or your gurus or your chelas. Poems by non-branded writers? Poems which have not appeared or sold to you by big publishers, Vogue magazine and other market forces. Poems by children and teenagers that you can brush off as immature. African American poetry. Poems on atrocities, history and slavery. Poetry by farmers. Poetry in unknown languages. Slam poetry. Poetry you can't control. That this is not poetry. Or are you just scared? Or are you just scared that the truth will be heard?